Alright, guys, welcome into another episode of Whiteboard Wednesday. That's the podcast that I do online and basically record my computer screen as I'm discussing some of these interesting tidbits that I've found in sharpfootballstats.com, which is a stats-based website that helps you visualize data. And I figured I'd go ahead and share this with you. I was under the weather, you may tell from my voice, with a pretty nasty cold that unfortunately got brought home from school from my kids, and that just kind of migrates to the rest of the family. And so not feeling at my 100%, but we're going to go ahead and run through one of these anyway since I missed my Periscope Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Usually I'm always doing a live Periscope Monday night, 8 p.m. for 30 minutes before the game start talking about some of these very things, but I think it's going to be useful to do it in this format of Whiteboard Wednesday because I'll be able to walk you through the stats website at sharpfootballstats.com so you can get a sense of how to use it, how I'm coming up with some of the things that I'm looking at there as well. Just another side note, unfortunately suffered another death in the family. This is, I think, the second in the past 6 weeks or so. So I'll be out of town for just about 24 hours. Fortunately, it's in driving distance, but certainly unfortunate. And just cherish the time that you have with the people that you love while you can, and try to stay positive. But with that said, of course, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about a negative topic here, and that relates to the Baltimore Ravens. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to go ahead and break down different segments on different videos just because I think it's going to be easier for you to navigate. I'm going to post them up individually on the blog at my website, the other website that I have, sharpfootballanalysis.com. And I'll put a little bit of text in there as well, kind of introing each little video. But the first one that we're going to talk about is the Baltimore Ravens. And my concern with the Baltimore Ravens, as we know, and I've discussed this before, there are a number of teams that are going to likely make the playoffs this year, which are either deficient offensively or deficient defensively, or specifically deficient in one key element therein. And the Baltimore Ravens are a team that's extremely deficient offensively, which is a major concern considering the fact that they have faced, as we scroll down here, the number one easiest schedule of opposing defenses so far this year. There has not been a team, and again, we're looking at, right now I'm looking at the past defenses faced, and so it's everything from weeks 1 to 12. And they have faced the easiest schedule of any team in the NFL in terms of defenses they've been going up against. And specifically, they have faced the number one easiest schedule of pass defenses. So Joe Flacco and this Baltimore Ravens passing offense has faced the easiest schedule of opposing defenses, specifically pass defenses. So if we scroll up here, we can look at how some of these teams that they've played rank in, let's choose defensive efficiency. And as this loads, one thing that I do want to mention to you guys, as you're looking at some of these on the site, they will default back to the standard view if you haven't used it for about 5 minutes or so, I believe. So if you're wondering why it keeps resetting or refreshing to a certain view, it's because it always is going to default to a standard view. That's so that you don't have to worry about trying to get back to home, so to speak, reset everything. It's always going to reset after about 5 minutes of you not using it. Now, sometimes that is a pain in the butt if you're switching around and trying to go back to it, but it's kind of the way that everything was designed and set up. So if we want to look at defensive efficiency of these opponents that they faced, you could see here that only one really good defense that they faced, the New York Giants. Pittsburgh Steelers were down at 11th when they played them, but this was a game when Big Ben was kind of just coming back from his injury. Obviously, he didn't have the right amount of pain medication in his knee to start the game, so he looked a lot better in the second half there, but this is kind of a strange game there. It was a short week for Pittsburgh on a Thursday. Baltimore was off of a bye, as you can clearly see. So they got him at a nice time. But look at all these really bad defenses, and specifically we want to talk about pass defensive efficiency. And you could see they really have not played very many good pass defenses. And that's a concern. You look down here who they're going to play this very next week, the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have been impressive with the way that they are coaching their secondary and their pass defense in general. It's utilizing some of the same techniques or strategies overall that the Dallas Cowboys utilized and that Adam Gase utilized when he was up in Chicago, which is run the ball a lot on offense, try to be productive and balanced and efficient that way to make your defense work as little as possible, and make the opposing team as desperate as possible. Then you can rush the passer, then you can try to make turnovers in the secondary. And so their defense has been pretty good at defending the pass so far this year. The key, obviously, when we're talking about the Ravens is their offense is one of the worst in the NFL. And we'll look here. This is the passer rating table for the quarterbacks, and it's going to reset here back to the default view. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what we can do with this table from scratch. And this is just here under offense, passing, and passer rating table by quarterback. We want to minimize this to just look at guys who have had at least 200 passing attempts. And otherwise, we're going to keep everything normal here. But as you can see, here's Joe Flacco all the way down at the bottom in terms of his passer rating being at an 81.3. The only players he's been better than, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brock Osweiler, and Case Keenum. But keep in mind that this is against the #1 easiest schedule of opposing defenses against the pass. So he's averaging only 6.5 yards per attempt, 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and an 81 passer rating. If the Baltimore Ravens are struggling offensively against these easy defenses, what's to say that they're not going to struggle in the postseason against maybe some better defenses? And if you look at all the times when he is playing trailing, and you look at all the quarterbacks who have thrown at least 100 pass attempts in these situations, once again, you can see some of the guys up at the top. Matt Ryan is crushed in this spot. Derek Carr, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Andrew Luck, a lot of the quarterbacks that may not be too surprising for you. But down here at the very bottom is once again where you're going to find Joe Flacco. 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions when he's trailing in a game. Only 44% of his passes have been graded as successful when he's down by any margin in the game. And he's only delivering a 70 passer rating, which is only better than Ryan Fitzpatrick and Case Keenum. So the Baltimore Ravens, it's certainly a concern as they hit the postseason, as they try to finish up their final stretch. We just looked at their schedule here, and they're going to face the #6 pass defense in the Miami Dolphins this upcoming week, week 13. Then they've got the easier pass defense than normal, the New England Patriots. But they've got a couple of pass defenses that are going to be a little bit more difficult and on the road. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously devoid of talent offensively thanks to a number of injuries that hit them kind of all simultaneously. But the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be tough in Pittsburgh. The Philadelphia Eagles, regardless of how Wentz looked, is going to be tough for that defense against Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens offense. So Justin Tucker's certainly going to have to keep his leg warmed up. But this Baltimore Ravens team really, really struggling against some strangely terrible competition that they've been facing, yet they still can't seem to get the job done.